together. So you're not really learning anything new today. You're just learning how to combine a couple concepts together. So remember, the first thing you always do when you're factoring is check for a what? GCF. A GCF. That's the first thing you want to do no matter what the problem is. And then from there, we'll move on and try something else. So today you're going to see some problems that have a GCF, but then we won't stop. The last few days, if we had a GCF, once we figured out what was in the parentheses, we stopped. Today we're going to see if we can keep going. So let's look at this first one. First thing I look for, does A have a GCF? Is there anything that would divide into 4, 24, and 32? 4. Do they all have X's?
No.
No. So 4 is the GCF. Once you find your GCF, we always build the parentheses behind it, just like we've done the last few days.
Hey, what I missed today?
The test.
Okay, when do you take that?
Whenever you can. Okay. Happy birthday, belated. So 4 times what makes 4x squared? X squared. 4 times what makes 24x? 6. X. And 4 times what makes 32? 8. Okay, the last few days, once we had a GCF and we figured out what was in the parentheses, we just stopped. Today, we're not going to stop. So today, I'm going to cover up my little 4. I'm going to pretend he's not even there anymore. And I'm going to think of this as the original problem. I'm just going to think that this is the original problem. I'm just completely ignoring my GCF. So I'm going to check for that GCF one more time. Does this in here have a GCF? No. So we learned if there's not a GCF and you're looking at a trinomial, 1, 2, 3, we do A times C rooftop. So that's what I want to try to do. What's the A here? 1. The A is the number in front of the X squared. So if I take A times C, what do I get? 8. What do I want them to add to be? 6. Okay, can you think of two numbers that multiply to be 8 that add to be 6? 2 times 4. They both need to be positive, right?
But there's a 1 in the middle, so that's the answer. X plus 2, X plus 2.
Right. So yesterday we learned the shortcut that if there's a 1 in front, you can just come over here and write these answers down. So it's X plus 2, and it's X plus 4. And then that little GCF that we brought out at the beginning, drop him like he's hot. Now, of course, this one was nice because it wasn't the whole long process. But it could have been A times C rooftop where you had to go through the whole long procedure. But it's no big deal because you should kind of already know how to do that. And then the GCF just drops at the very end. So it's a combination of what we've been learning the last few days. What, Zach? I plan on giving you an assignment. So let's keep cruising for a second. Looking at B. What is the greatest thing, because we always look for the GCF, what's the greatest thing that can go into 3, 15, and 12? 3. Do they all have A's?
No.
Okay, so I can't pull any A's out. Okay, and then I build my parentheses back behind it. 3 times what makes 3A squared?
A squared.
A squared. 3 times what makes a negative 15A? Negative 5A, good. And 3 times what makes 12?
4A squared.
Just 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, once you're done, you're going to ignore your GCF, pretend that GCF's not even there, and think of this as your original problem, and go through your checklist again. Does this right here have a GCF?
No.
No, and because it's a trinomial, 1, 2, 3, we're going to do A times C rooftop. My A is a 1 again.
-4, -1.
So hang on. What's A times C? What's A times C? 4. What do you want them to add to be? -5. And Tyler, what did you blurt out?
-4, -1.
A -4 and -1. Can I do the shortcut? Yep, it's a 1 in front, so shortcut, what would it look like?
X minus 4.
Except for X, it's A minus 4 and A minus 1. And Mr. GCF, shoot, drop him like he's hot.
Does it matter, like, when you're...
If this is A minus 1 and this is A minus 4?
But, like, if that's how it starts, does that have... Can you, like, put X at the end? Would it matter?
Oh, like you put X's instead of A's?
Yeah.
I wouldn't care so much, but some teachers might. Okay, let's look at C. What's the greatest thing
2.
that goes into all of those? 2. Do they all have R's? Okay, so 2r is a GCF. Okay, I want you guys to figure out what goes in the parentheses. And what goes in the parentheses?
-3, negative. Oh.
No. R squared.
R squared, negative 2r, negative 3.
2r.
Okay, so then we're going to cover up that GCF, pretend he's not even there, and think of this as your original problem. So I look for the GCF again. Does this have a GCF? Nope. Is it a trinomial? Yep, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to do A times C rooftop. I want you to take a moment and do A times C rooftop. Let's see what you get. Tyler, silently. Silently, Tyler.
Do all your other classes have to watch this?
No, they don't watch it. It's just if somebody is absent, then this is the video that I'll post on Blackboard. Plus, I've been sending it to you guys in your Remind 101s just in case.
I keep thinking we have notes and stuff.
Well, that's why I say if you're absent or just want to watch the lesson again or something like that. I don't know. I had a kid yesterday in my 4th period. He's like, I never read your messages. I just always ignore them.
What if it was saying, like, don't come to school, the building has exploded?
Did you tell him that's why he's failing?
Well, I got onto him. I didn't tell him that, but I did get onto him.
I mean, seriously, the building's exploded and he goes there.
Okay, what did your A times C give you in this little X box here? -3. You want them to add to be -2. What numbers do that? -3 and 1. Could you do the shortcut?
Yes.
So what's it look like?
R minus 3 and R plus 1.
There it is. R minus 3 and R plus 1. And Mr. GCF, shoo, drop him like it's hot. So, these were all nice and easy because we had those little shortcuts. Sydney, do you like the shortcut yet?
Yes.
You still like the longer way?
Well, I forgot the long one. Yeah.
Okay, well, good. So we're going to come to a longer one here. First thing I always look for is the GCF. What's the greatest thing that goes into 3, 5, and 28?
Nothing.
Nothing besides a 1. Now, let's look. Do they all have P's?
Yeah.
What's the greatest number of P's they all have?
2.
They all have 2 P's. So P squared is your GCF, and then you build your parentheses back behind it. Okay, so P squared times what makes 3P to the 4th?
3P squared.
Good. P squared times what makes a -5P cubed?
-5P.
Good. And P squared times what makes a -28P squared?
-28P. No.
It's -28. We have the exact amount of P's that we want. Okay, so then I just ignore Mr. GCF, pretend he's not there, and I just start all over again. Looking at what I have in parentheses, do I have a GCF in this bunch? Nope. So is it a trinomial? So I'm going to go straight into A times C rooftop. What do you get if you take your A times your C? A -84. And you want them to add to be -5. Okay, I'm going to give everybody a few minutes. Try not to blurt that out.
All right.
Trying to find numbers that multiply to be -84 that add to be -5.
We'll just write it.
You can write it down if you know. I don't care. I just don't want you to say it out loud. I want everybody to think for a second. Did Tyler figure it out?
No.
Oh, I thought you said you had them.
I do. I have it.
Oh.
I don't have it. Yes, I swear I do.
Okay, Peter.
It's -12.7.
-12 and 7. Let's write it down. -12 and 7. Do those multiply to be -84?
Yes, they
Do they add to be -5?
Yes, they do.
Then that's what we want. Okay, can I shortcut here?
No.
I cannot. It's not a 1 in front. Okay, so if you forgot how to do the long one, here it goes. You recopy the very first term, so I recopy the 3p squared. But instead of writing the middle guy, I use these two numbers. So I would write a minus 12p and a positive 7p, and then I bring down the negative 28. So this first step is basically just recopying everything, but instead of using the middle guy, you use the two numbers you came up with.
Wait, would you put negative 28 squared, or?
This was just a negative 28. I'm recopying what I had in the parentheses. You know, I pulled out the p squared, and then this is what I had left in the parentheses after I pulled the p squared out. So I just dropped the 3p squared, I just dropped the negative 28, but instead of writing this, I use these two numbers just with p's behind them. Did you have something behind that 28 in your parentheses?
No, I just thought you would take it from the beginning.
No, I take it from this step right here. I'm just ignoring my GCF right now. Okay, so looking at your first two pieces, what's the GCF out of those two things? 3p. Okay, then you build your parentheses behind it. 3p times what gives that back to you? P minus 4. Okay, then I look at my back two guys. What's your GCF out of a 7 and 28? 7. What do you know needs to be in the parentheses? P minus 4. If this is P minus 4 over here, this needs to be P minus 4 over here as well. What kind of 7 should it be? Positive or negative? Positive. That way it distributes to give you what you see in the step above. Okay, so then I've got one final step. What goes in one set of parentheses?
3p plus 7.
And then the other? Yep, so P minus 4 goes in one set, and 3p plus 7 goes in the other set. I just have one little minor detail to remember, and what is that? Bring down that p squared that you brought out at the very beginning, and then box it all up. So it's just a mixture of lessons. Okay, so I'm going to give you this, and let's see here. I can be nice, I guess. Let's do the left column, the 1, 3, 5, 7. It's 4 problems. Just the left column, 1, 3, 5, 7. 4 problems.
And that will be our homework.
That's your homework.
What number is it?
Wait, so we're doing 1 through 7 problems.
No, you're doing 1, 3, 5, 7, the left side of the paper. Hold on, sorry.
For homework?
Yes, for homework.
That's what I just said.
Well, I know, but you said 1 through 7.
1, 3, 7, 5.
Yeah.
So the first, she said column 1.
Yeah, I said the left column, and then I tried to be more clear. 1, 3, 5, 7. Left column, 1, 3, 5, 7.